Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
A dire prediction. The coronavirus could kill 200,000 Americans by September. The U.S. already topping 113,000 deaths.
We opened up when the case levels were still quite high. We did not have enough testing in most states, so we're now seeing the consequences of that.
As the country continues to reopen, a top Harvard health official warning, without drastic action, more people will die.
Yeah. Look, for all the things that are going on out in the streets, the protest, which, damn Skippy, we need to be talking about it. We need to be out there. Realize it comes with risk. This hasn't gone anywhere. Yesterday, here right now, Arizona, where I am, the cases are through the roof. We are spiking faster than anywhere else. Doug Ducey, the governor, to his credit, came out yesterday. I don't think he's got a plan in place. I don't think a lot of these governors across the country have concrete plans in place. But to his credit, he said, this thing's not going anywhere. It's not. It's not going anywhere. We're learning a ton about this thing, but as they learn, we learn. It's not like they were studying it for decades and they're just now getting to the... No, they're learning as we're... This is the first we're hearing about it? Well, it's the first they heard about it, too. So, protests are going on. Before George Floyd, it was 24/7 coronavirus. For the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, we've been focused on George Floyd, race in this country, having a conversation which needs to be had. But the coronavirus is still here. And across the country, people are grappling with what to do. How do they reopen? What do they feel safe doing? How do they spend money? Do they not spend money? Is this now? I think we're starting to realize, as much as Trump touted it, it's an amazing situation. We've got the greatest economy in the history of economies. Nobody saw this coming 8 months ago. So let's not pretend and people try to blame Trump and all. Now, I'm not blaming. I can blame him for some of his reaction, but the reality is, if Trump would have shut us down and told everybody that there's shelter in place, and then they said, well, that's 5 months, 6 months. You guys we got to get back to things. It hadn't gone anywhere. That's just it. It's not gone anywhere. It's here. It's still here. We need to learn to live with it. We need to learn to live with it. We need to learn to live around it. And that is going to have a dire consequence, not just in the short term, but the potential long term for when it comes to our economy. Yesterday, jobs came out. Not as bad as they thought, but at the end of the day,
reopenings are underway across the country, but another 1.5 million people were laid off and filed new claims for unemployment.
Times are still not very good right now if you're trying to get a job.
Chris Rupke's chief economist at MUFG New York.
As time goes on and businesses experience sharply reduced sales, they find that they simply cannot hang on to the same number of workers.
Meaning, he said, an extended period of joblessness for many.
Yeah, it's what we've been talking about. It's what we've been talking about, which is even when we reopen, you're going to have several different factors in the reopening. One, people are terrified, still don't know if they should or shouldn't be going outside. There's no therapeutics yet for it, and there is no vaccine. Two, people are worried about their jobs. So what are they going to do? They're going to hold on to the money they have. Understandable. So what does that do? The domino effect. I don't need you to work 40 hours. I only need you to work 20. I don't need 22 people. I only need 18. These are the little things that are going to take place, and that's going to become a big thing. The dimmer switch, the flick of the light, all of this stuff, not right now, not at this moment. Concrete plans need to be having. As I look around and I see governors talk and I see what's going on, and I expected a spike. But I feel like the common sense thing that we should be doing, looking out there saying, look, there are vulnerable people and populations. everybody under the age of 65 that's healthy, the chances of you dying from this, it's not zero, but the reality is you're going to make it through. So now, why are we not doing more to protect? We're throwing so much money around. Why are we not doing more to protect the vulnerable by setting up essentially quarantine areas, putting people in those quarantine areas to help take care of the vulnerable, to the point where, you know what, if it's a nursing home, you've got X amount of doctors, X amount of nurses, CNAs. You guys, you're going to be on 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off, meaning you're staying there. Something of that nature. And the rest of us get back to work. But I feel like the plan is we don't have a plan. Those of you who fail to plan to fail. And I feel like across the country, I'm watching people, I'm thinking, I kind of feel like this is what's going on. It's a hit and hope. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from you. If you've not heard it, it's the most cringeworthy thing. Celebrity montage that came out yesterday. I don't even know how to best describe it. I tweeted it out yesterday. Self-aggrandizing, phrase I used. White savior is another phrase I use. It was like, at first I thought, is this a parody? But they're like, oh my God, those are real actors and actresses. It's in black and white, it's like, it's just this kind of sepia weird. Well, hear for yourself. And Aaron Paul is the winner.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility for every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Every not so funny joke, every unfair stereotype.
Every time I explained away police brutality.
Black people are being slaughtered in the streets, killed in their own homes.
Going for a jog should not be a death sentence. Sleeping in your own home should not be a death sentence.
Playing video games with your nephew should not be a death sentence.
Shopping in a store should not be a death sentence. I stand against hate.
I stand against hate.
And killer cops must be prosecuted. They are murderers. We can turn the tide. It is time to take responsibility.
I was like, what was that? Right? Like that's, I don't even know what that is. Like, what, huh? That was awkward. Like it was self-aggrandizing for sure. And Aaron Paul gets like, killer cop, and he like gets towards the screen and you're just like, whoa. And, some people yesterday, because I said it was self-aggrandizing and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, what should people do? I said, you know what? The Matthew McConaughey thing with Emmanuel Acho, the uncomfortable conversation with a black man. I thought that was cool, right? Like that was more powerful because it wasn't, let's apologize for a bunch of stuff and preachy. It was like, hey, we're going to have a conversation. Like that's how it happens. That's how it happens. It was awkward at best. It was. And it's funny. Dave Chappelle's got a new special out, 8:42. Or it was 8:46. Obviously with George Floyd. And it's on Netflix. I watched it. It is powerful. It's funny at times. He gets very serious for long periods of time. And just when you think boom, he comes out and hits you with something that makes you laugh, brings your guard down again, then goes in. But he said this about celebrities because Don Lemon was out, telling everybody, where are you guys?
Where are all these celebrities? Why aren't you talking? This at everybody. I was screaming at the TV. I dare you to say me. I dare you. Has anyone ever listened to me do comedy? Have I not ever said anything about these things before? So now all of a sudden, this expects me to step in front of the streets and talk over the work these people are doing as a celebrity? Ask me, do you want to see a celebrity right now? Do we give a what Ja Rule thinks? Does it matter about celebrity? No.
They feel they have to, right? And it's powerful. Somebody said, well, I don't know about funny. I said, no, it's funny. He's got funny stuff in there, and he hammers Candace Owens, which I think is hilarious. I know a lot of people love Candace, right? I think she's very smart. I think she found a niche. I think she picked a lane. And in this day and age, what do you have to do when you pick the lane? You can't be reasonable. You can't have conversations. The louder you scream, the more absurd that you make things. Even because I have a lot of friends in this business, been in this business a long time. And I know how some of those friends really feel, but I also know it's a business. And off the air, they don't feel that way. Off the air, they'll laugh and say, God, these people eat this stuff up. But in reality, they don't feel that way. But they know, as a business, they got to play to a certain base and niche clientele. And they do. And he hammers Candace Owens. And I think we'll talk about that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. You can text the program. By the way, yesterday, I watched golf. I watched live professional golf. It was nice. It was nice. It was just nice to watch something that was sports. Oh, I'm looking forward. I'm so excited for the weekend. I'm going to be just chilling and watching golf. And it is again, we're craving things. And I was like, this is nice, right? Turned off. I didn't have to watch any of the news stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to watch some golf and watch guys hit good shots. And it's going to feel like just give you a sense of comfort and some normal thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. Love my Raycons. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, all of that stuff. I mean, it's just great. But people say, what's the best thing? The comfort fit and the noise isolating fits when I'm taking calls and stuff. But like for me, I work out. I work out pretty hard. I get here early in the morning. In between my shows, I go and work out really hard about 3 or 4 days a week. I can put those in and I can work out extremely hard and never worry about them falling out. Jack, before he got his Raycons, he wants, it's the stylish thing. Like the Raycon was just coming out, so he wanted the ones with the little white stems. Those things fell out all the time. These never fall out. They're incredible. Great Father's Day gift. Normally, for something this good, $150, $200, this starts well under $100. And I'm going to save you more money. Get your Raycons today. Best earbuds around. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
The Republican National Committee has selected Jacksonville, Florida to host President Trump's acceptance speech for the Republican nomination. This move comes after a bitter standoff between the Trump campaign and RNC and North Carolina's Democratic governor, who refused to give a guarantee that the GOP could hold the large-scale event during the coronavirus pandemic. Some official convention business will still take place in Charlotte, but the final night of the 4-day Republican event, the president's acceptance speech, will be in Jacksonville at an arena that holds 15,000 people.
Yeah, I go to these normally. And we had been set up to go pre-coronavirus. We did it about a year out. That's what you have to do. And we've been talking. I'm like, I'm not going. I'm just not. First of all, I don't know what's going to look like in a few months. Nobody does, because this thing could be a nightmare and they could call everything off, both sides. Secondly, I said, and I continue to say it, I can't be on an airplane for 5 or 6 hours with a mask. There's nothing about that that's appealing to me at this point in time. And Trump is getting ready to do what? Trump is plowing forward. He wants what he wants. Period. Case closed. Damn be everything else. He's going to start holding rallies in the next couple weeks. Tulsa. But check this out.
confirming that the president will hold a rally next Friday in Tulsa at a venue that can hold 19,000 people. And get this, anyone attending must agree to the following disclaimer. By clicking register below, you are acknowledging that an inherent risk of exposure to COVID-19 exists in any public place where people are present. By attending the rally, you and any guests voluntarily assume all risks related to exposure to COVID-19 and agree not to hold Donald J. Trump for President, Inc. liable for any illness or injury.
You can come. It's at your own risk, and people are going to go. And that's it. Look, I've zero problems with this is out there. We're going to have to live with it. It's not going anywhere at this moment in time. They do not have any vaccine, although they're moving towards that. They're moving to phase 3 in some of these trials. I just don't think 19,000 people getting together at this moment in time is a great thing, right? We should be focusing on the economy. We should be, and he's probably just needs to get out, right? His snapshot of his life is his circle's getting smaller, the noise is getting louder, the pressure's getting bigger. He's surrounded 24/7 by mostly negative news in a town that drives him crazy. And getting out in front of God knows how many people is a welcome relief. But it's not just the people of Tulsa. Because having had him out here, he's coming out here the 23rd of this month to give a speech. It's the tens of thousands of people and all of these across all of these things travel in from other states. So there's a lot that goes into it. When we're trying to reopen the economy and kickstart it, I'd be more focused on that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. The Chaz. Good time, the Chaz. Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Guys, haven't been watching what's going on in Seattle. Spectacular. Everything that is what we think of uber progressive Seattle is encapsulated in this 6-block craziness. Oh, my Lord. You got to love it. It's a Friday. Yes, I did have a donut. Just want you guys to know that. It was delicious. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Mayor Jenny Durkin fired back at President Trump's warning that he would send in troops to Seattle.
The threat to invade Seattle, to divide and incite violence in our city, is not only unwelcome, it would be illegal.
Still, the president continued his complaints.
If we have to go in, we're going to go in. These people are not going to occupy a major portion of a great city.
Well, they are, actually. They are. So if you have no idea what this is, you haven't been following it. It is pretty awesome in a crazy, chaotic way. Seattle's pretty progressive, as we all know. They've got the first socialist that really held any office in America, Seattle. They're just uber left, like even at times further left than places like San Francisco. So that's an interesting thing. You think, really? Yeah, very much. Right? It's Portland. The further north you go, the more kind of, anarchist, kind of move further left, you start to see things. So they have now taken, they were the Occupy movement, right? WTO, all those years ago. Now you have this 6-block radius called the Chaz, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. that has been taken over. And think of Burning Man. Yet in the middle of a city, it's bizarre and as far left as you can go. But here's the weird thing. We talked about them last. Is it the Bugaloos? The Bugaloos? I mess it up.
Juggaloos.
No, not the Juggaloos. That's the other people from the insane clown posse. The Boogaloo, which are supposed to be this far right, like anti-government group, is also part of this. Because anytime there's chaos and an opportunity to pretend to think that the world may come to a civil war with tons of unrest, they don't care what side of the aisle they're on. They're out there in some cases walking around, try to keep the peace. But it is bizarre, to say the least. A major city in America has lost 6 blocks of their city to protesters, hippies, counterculture. Just, it's insane.
After multiple nights of violent clashes, police, in a show of de-escalating tensions in the Capitol Hill district, boarded up their station and left. Now the area called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ, is being controlled by mostly peaceful protesters. Activists have camped out, vowing to stay unless their demands, which include defunding the police and racial equality, are met.
What I love is, so you heard what she said. They boarded up their precinct and station and left. Now, if you have no idea how policing has gone in Seattle, all the things that other precincts are trying to get to and across the nation, I mean, like all of the things, the kinder, gentler way is Seattle. De-escalation, don't arrest anybody. Feel free to do what you want to do. That's Seattle. Still not enough. They left their precinct. Here is Chief Best.
We did not, for clarification, abandon the precinct.
Now, you boarded up and you left. Producer Phil, if I board up something and leave, what am I doing?
I think you'd be abandoning it, Chad.
Thank you. We need a clarification. We got a ruling from the referee, Phil. He said it.
We did not, for clarification, abandon the precinct, but we did have to remove some personnel for a short period of time, and then it became unsafe. You've seen the pictures and the photos of what's going on for us to safely put our officers back in there.
You're cops. This is your job. This is your job. If your children overrun you, you're not being a good parent, right? And they know if they can do it once, they're going to do it 1,000 times. This is your job. If you guys want to know what's going on in Seattle in a whole, there's just a whole focused picture. I think it's about a year or two old. It is called Seattle's Dying. You can get it on YouTube. It's like an hour long. It is eye-opening to see essentially what is going on there. Now this just exacerbates that.
In a video message, Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best said she did not order officers and personnel to abandon the city's East Precinct after several days of unrest.
Ultimately, the city had other plans for the building and relented to severe public pressure. We're going to evaluate and see what the viability is of bringing officers in, but certainly there's no plan to do that right at this moment.
The Autonomous Zone has turned into an almost street fair-like atmosphere with free food, art displays, and outdoor movie nights. But there have been some reports of armed people patrolling the streets in lieu of police.
Well, you don't need that because you've got Utopia. You've got Utopia. You don't need any of those things. They've lost control. And it's kind of funny. Trump's out there. We're going to go in. You're not going to go in. Sorry, you're not. This is a them problem. Let them handle it. They choose to have a hands-off approach. By the way, it's not just all commercial buildings. There's a lot of people who live and work inside of that area. And, some of them are saying, I'm kind of over it. Others are saying, this is the area it is, and we're just going to learn to live with it. But I'm sure it's not good for business. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us, the Autonomous Zone. It is awesome. If you've not seen it, I talked to Hannah Scott from Cairo yesterday, and she's just like, it's interesting. She goes, I was there. They had a ton of food, and then we found out that they invited a bunch of homeless people who then stole all the food. And I said, was that real? She goes, yeah, they did take a lot. She goes, but there's tons of food. And they're just hanging out. And I said, well, what do they want? She goes, just to do what they're doing. They don't want anything else. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I don't know how that's going to work, but have fun with that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The spread of COVID is continuing to go on. Question is, what the heck's no symptom? What, huh?
There's a big difference between the high percentage of asymptomatic infections that data has shown us anywhere from 25 to 45% of people infected with COVID-19 can show no symptoms. There's a difference between that group and then people who are asymptomatic and can spread the virus. That number we don't know yet, but there is the suspicion that asymptomatic spread is a major driving force of this virus.
Yeah. So there's that, like people asymptomatic, no symptoms, who spreads. Depending on where you look, they say that 80% of the spreading that goes on is done by about 20% of the people, and the other 20% is done by 80% who have it. And the majority of people who are spreading it were kind of sick or not sick at all. You would never have known. They would never have known they were sick. And sometimes by the time they found out they're sick, it's only because they were curious and either got an antibody test or something. So this is part of what this is. But we're starting to learn, I think we've got an understanding of who is really vulnerable to the point where they need to be isolated and protected. And that's people who are older, people who are unhealthy with true underlying conditions. Not that, like really compromised immune systems, obesity, not 20 pounds overweight, 100 pounds overweight, 200 pounds. People that are inactive because of injuries. We were talking the other day about what assisted living is compared to, you got nursing homes, sometimes assisted living or facilities, people who they've had brain damage, something of that age. They're not 70. They're in their 20s. They've had something happen to them. Those people that are truly vulnerable, they need to be isolated and protected, and we need to put people around them and put money into the protection so we can have almost like the movie Biodome, where it's hermetically sealed. As long as Pauly Shore's not involved, we're good to go. And then the rest of us understand that living in a situation where something isn't going anywhere, there is going to be some inherent risk. But I think the more that we come at this thing, the quicker that we can get to the point where maybe we get some herd immunity. Because if we're not going to have a therapeutic, and I do believe we will get one or two therapeutics eventually. I thought it would come quicker, but it hasn't. And the vaccine, God only knows about the vaccine. How far away are we? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can, yes, kids, can I say it? You can text the program. You can check out the Instagram as well. We do lots of stuff. We're trying to make you feel. And you can get a hold of us, and I try to answer everybody as best that I possibly can, so bear with me at times. Right on. 323-538-CHAD. It's that simple to get in touch with me, and it is me. I don't have Anthony do it. I don't have producer Phil do it. I don't have the other people I work with. It's me. So when you're like, is this really him? Yes, it's really me. It is. 323-538-2423. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. They're doing something really, really, really interesting. They're backing a bill by Tom Cotton that would incentivize and help bring back our pharmaceutical manufacturing from places like China, so we no longer have to rely on them, and the supply chain can be here. And I think that's a smart thing to do. On top of that, they're giving benefits for you across the board, from retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, and so much more. And here's the beauty of it. They want you to try it for free. They're not asking for anything. They don't want anything from you. They don't want money, none of that stuff. They want you to give them a year to show you how amazing they are. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. Check it out for yourself. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're giving you a free year to see all the great things they're doing, as well as giving you great benefits. amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Action! Movies and TV shows can officially begin shooting again today in California after being shut down since March because of the COVID-19 pandemic, providing productions meet government-mandated health protection protocols. The LA County Health Department only released those protocols yesterday, all 10 pages of them. They cover everything from auditions to location scouting, on-set safety, hair and makeup, music production, craft services and catering, and more. Even so, most don't expect productions to really get rolling until July or August.
Yeah. And how much of that is going to, depend on what things look like. And not only what things look like as far as the spread, but also taking the temperature around the political room, if you will, to find out if we get into something, are they going to shut us down? Because that's the last thing we want. And how do you do it? If it's me, it's just me, and I'm getting ready to shoot something, we're going to have access, because obviously you'll have money. And we're talking about real production. We're not talking about small indie films. We're talking about real production. And we're going to keep everybody in a single area. And we'll film there, and everybody's going to be, much like with everything else, if we're shooting for 6 weeks, we're going to be tight-knit and not expose ourselves to anything else that's out there. Keep everybody on or about the set, in hotel rooms, and keep it as simple as possible. But we'll see. I mean, golf returned. I'm excited. Golf's back. They played yesterday. They went out and shot, and it was, it was fun to see people playing a sport where there was actually an outcome that was awesome, right? Like they're playing for real. This counts. There's money, the whole 9 yards, but it still feels weird.
It felt like kind of a practice round out there. Same kind of energy, but it's kind of peaceful. Kind of going back to college days, and you kind of roll with it and stay within yourself a little bit more. And you really don't get distracted. There's not much going on around you, so it was kind of nice to stay within yourself.
Yeah, Gary Woodland right there. Phil Mickelson talking about no fans.
It's certainly awkward not having everybody out here, but I'm certainly proud of the steps the PGA Tour has taken to have everybody be safe, feel safe in this environment, and to hopefully entertain and have some people watching on TV, even though they're not here.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, it's just good. Like, people, even though we're not there, I did watch. I'm getting ready to flip over to the Golf Channel in a minute, because I'm like, I don't know if I really want to watch, 24/7 nonstop chaos and CNN, Fox, or MSNBC. I've got other things going on, and golf is just, I enjoy watching it, and it's very peaceful. And at a time of chaos and craziness, very peaceful doesn't hurt. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The coronavirus still here. How close are we to actually getting to a point where we might say to ourselves, are we going to get, yes, are you ready for it, a vaccine?
Moderna, one of the biotech companies working on an accelerated timetable to develop a COVID-19 vaccine, announcing it's set to begin phase 3 of human testing. Each phase uses a larger sample of people. In this new phase, 30,000 participants will take part. Half will get the vaccine, the other half a placebo. If the vaccine is shown effective in phase 3, the next step is FDA approval and a possible accelerated emergency authorization of the vaccine. If all goes well, pharmaceutical company Lonza would scale up to supply up to 1 billion doses of the vaccine a year.
Yeah. Have to go quick. So this is the next phase. And remember, in some of the phases, originally, when everybody was indoors, they said they were having a tough time getting people that could be exposed. Part of it is you need exposure. We want to see if this thing will stop you from getting said virus. If you're not around anybody and don't go anywhere, if you have it or don't have it, it doesn't matter. So they need people to be exposed. And I think this is the perfect time because we get back out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us. Dave Chappelle's got a new special on Netflix. 846 is what it's called. Talks a lot about George Floyd, race in this country. Some of it's funny. Some of it's poignant. Very powerful. Golf again this weekend. La Liga, which is the Spanish league, is back. Not back to normal, but we're moving in a direction. But it's still here, and it's still causing problems. That coronavirus. You meddling kids. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You go back to February and March of this year, you saw the market reacting swiftly to the coronavirus, dropping successfully over many days. But then, over the last couple of weeks, the market has virtually recovered. And there's a lot of questions on Wall Street now, whether that is grounded in reality, in the reality of the economy, or if it's just too much.
The economy. All of the stuff that's going on. The protest, what took place with George Floyd, the talk of race in this country and race relations, the fracture we have in the political world. One thing all of us are involved in and want to see happen is an improved economy. Coronavirus is here. It's not going anywhere, at least not anytime in the near future. They're moving in directions. Phase 3 with one of the latest vaccine trials. 30,000 people will be given either a placebo or the actual vaccine. And then they're going to hopefully, if this thing gets to that point where they realize it's working, they're going to rush it through with the FDA approval, and hopefully they'll have about 1 billion doses ready to roll. That's still a ways out. Now it's, what do we do? People are returning back to work. They're returning, and if they're not returning back to work, still working from home, they're going out more. Because of that, more people are exposed. Because of more exposure, you're seeing a spike in cases. Depending on which network you're watching, it's anywhere between 15 and 20 states are seeing serious spikes. Here in Arizona, we've got massive spikes. We may be number one in the spike world when it comes to what's going on. But it's not going anywhere. Learning to live with it, around it, having a plan on the people that we need to protect is vital. And the rest of us need to start figuring out how we start to rebuild this economy. And that is going to take time. And the longer this goes, and the more uncertainty that's out there, the tougher this is going to be when it comes to rebuilding the economy, which is what everybody wants. Black, white, gay, straight, Christian, Muslim, atheist, does not matter. We all want a strong economy. We want opportunities to make money. We all want to be able to hold on to stuff like our homes and our businesses and our livelihood. But we've got to start figuring out exactly how we're going to start doing this. And what I see around the country is governors throwing crap out there, and none of it seems to be, how should I say this, really strong. One thing I know, it was certain yesterday from Doug Ducey, the governor here, is there's no discussion of going backwards. And I said, when we jump, when we say, all right, it's open, you have to go. And that was pre-George Floyd and his murder and the subsequent protest. So there is no going backwards now. You're not going to get the genie back in the bottle.
We can't shut down the economy again. I think we've learned that if you shut down the economy, you're going to create more damage, and not just economic damage, but there are other areas, and we've talked about this, of medical problems and everything else that get put on hold. I think it was very prudent what the president did, but I think we've learned a lot.
Yeah, like we have learned a lot. And the lot is simply this. Vulnerable people need to be isolated and protected. We need to have a way of making sure that the people that are going to be working with them are also isolated with them, have them working in shifts. And I'm not talking about 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I'm talking about 2 or 3 weeks with them. And if it's your grandmother or grandpa and they're still in a situation where they live at home, then maybe a family member, because we have so much money that's been thrown around for this, and it's being allocated to some bizarre, weird things. Here in Arizona, they're taking some money, and they're like, well, we're going to help out and buy bus passes and do that. No. Let's be serious just for a second. Rather than put it into other things, let's be smart. But what I see is no plans. I see everybody throwing crap against the wall, hoping something's going to stick, and praying that the virus itself kind of runs its course. That doesn't seem to be happening. But a second shutdown, not possible. And what that could do to the economy, 5, 10 years? When I was trading currency, the yen, Japanese yen, they had a lost decade of malaise and recession. Could we head to that? If we don't start planning, I think it's a possibility. And not just us, globally. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from you. Yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw this, the Chicago police did something that you just scratch your head at. And I don't know how you describe it.
Illinois Congressman Bobby Rush, who has served in Congress for nearly 30 years, is a former leader of the Black Panthers. Last week, the congressman got word that his office in Chicago had been burglarized. But when he went to look at the surveillance tape, this is what he found. A group of up to 13 police officers helping themselves to coffee, making popcorn, even napping in his office, while outside stores were being damaged and robbed in the aftermath of the protests over the murder of George Floyd.
Yeah, so he's there looking at all this stuff. It's a head scratcher. They're chilling in his office. Feet up, eating food, making popcorn. It's bizarre. Now, he's had issues with the police department. Again, Black Panther. There is a lot of issues that he's had with them, and they've had with him. This completely unacceptable. As your city's in trouble, you're doing what? You're chilling in his office, eating his food with your feet on his desk? Can you say, hi, no respect?
These individuals were lounging in a congressman's office, having a little hangout for themselves, while small businesses on the South Side were looted and burned. Their conduct will confirm the perception that too many people were left to fend for themselves. These individuals did indeed abandon their oath to serve and protect. We should all be disgusted.
That's Mayor Lightfoot right there. Yeah, we should be. We should. Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. Here is Congressman Bobby Rush talking about stuff.
Well, I got a call from my district director saying that my office had been looted, that had been burglarized. She said that she had the video. Once we looked at the video, then we saw this amazing sight. Police officers, up to 13, they were in my office, sleeping, having coffee, putting their feet up on my desk.
Now, you're thinking, well, he's had a malign, I'm just going to say that he had a tumor removed from his saliva glands. That's why you hear him, because yesterday some people were like, does he not hear? No, he hears. It's just, that's what that is. So to get that out of the way. So they're there chilling on his desk, eating his food, making popcorn, chilling, having coffee, while what's going on out there is chaos. Now, could it be a political statement if Bobby Rush forced the police to allow the city's rioters, outside agitators who come in to cause trouble, to essentially do what Seattle's doing, which is, hey, just let them have this? And the cops are saying, you know what, I'm sorry, that's not what I agree with, but that's what you want to do? I'm going to go chill in your office. That'll be a political statement. That would be. This isn't that. And then to add insult to injury.
To make things worse, we had the supervisors coming in and out of the office, and to add insult to injury, when they left the office, had rested enough, slept enough, they left $1 bill on my table there in the office, added insult to injury.
Yeah. Clowns. One thing when police are pulled off the streets, pulled back, Baltimore, when all that chaos was going on with Freddie Gray, they said, no, just let him do it. Let him burn it out. Let him do whatever they're going to do. Stand down. That wasn't this. That was not this. That was frustrating and an embarrassment. And they should be embarrassed. They should. We have enough issues right now in this country. It's not a good look. Yesterday I was talking to a couple, every day, there's not a day that doesn't go by in the studios out here at KTAR where I host not only my national show, but I do a show for KTAR. There's not a day that does not go by that I don't see anywhere between 2 and about 5 officers. There's 1 or 2 days a week they do their own show on Saturdays here. And you'll get not just them, but tons of first responders. Yesterday I had 3 cops come in and they just say, hey, thank you for we're getting hammered. We're getting told how horrible we are. We're getting our balls busted, and at least you're being fair with us. You criticize, and we deserve some criticism at times. I said, did you see this? They said, you know what? Like, too often, colleagues around the country do stuff that embarrasses all of us, and that was an embarrassment. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Boomer Naturals, baby. Boomer Naturals. Here's an interesting thing. I wear my mask when I need to. So Boomer Naturals, they make these great face coverings. It's 35% polyester, 65% cotton. It's a 3 blended material. It's great. It's treated with nano silver technology and antibacterial and antiviral stuff that's on that cloth for 30 days. But it's comfortable and it fits my head. I had some other ones because here at the station they were giving out masks, and they were awful. They were real masks, too. They were horrible. They were uncomfortable. Like, didn't fit really. And one of the doctors I work with came to me and he saw it. He's like, hey, try it. I gave him one. Here you go, try it. He's like, these are awesome. I said, yeah. Part of wearing a mask is knowing that, look, you're not going to get, unless you have the N95, you have the perfect one, and you got to go through, take one, throw it away, those kind of things. It's crazy. The Boomer Naturals mask is 92% effective. It is comfortable. It fits you in a way where if you have to wear it for a long period of time, it's the best you're going to get. And it truly is. You're going to get a certificate that shows you how effective it is. They make children's sizes and adult sizes that cover your nose and mouth. 30-day reusable. You wash it, put it in warm water, a little bit of soap, let it air dry, wear it again. and less than 30 cents a day. Use code CHAD20. Go to boomernaturals.com, boomernaturals.com, code CHAD20. You're going to save 20%. Boomernaturals.com, code CHAD20. Take your 30-day, 30-use face coverings. Get them for you and your family members. You will not be disappointed. Boomernaturals.com, promo code CHAD20. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out
What's trending? What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
All right, let's take a look around, see what's trending on the old interwebs. Start of the Twitter. It's usually just nothing but anger. Twitter's great. I stand with Tucker Carlson. Stand with Tucker Carlson. Apparently he's losing a ton of advertisers. He came out and criticized Black Lives Matter, so people are jumping ship. And I just sit there and say, I don't watch any of those shows. And I've interviewed Tucker, and he's always been nice to me. By the way, he's very, he understands that he's very lucky. That's one of the things he talks about in his book. He's enjoyed white privilege. He grew up I think it was him and his brother, and they were in San Diego, and his dad was a big-time newscaster, and he soaks it up. I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's like everything. People playing to the base, right? Trump out there holding up the Bible, talking about how he's, this law and order president. That's the base that he's playing to. Nancy Pelosi and them wearing, was it the Kente cloth and doing their photo op, right? With their, with themselves on the knee for, that's a base. Tucker's playing to his base. He knows what his base is. Right, conservative, white, conservative. But in this day and age, understand what's going on and how you deal with it. Today, Pulse nightclub, 4 years later, people paying tribute to that. Head on over to Google. Dave Chappelle's got his new special out. It's an interesting one. He's doing a concert. It's outside. It's just very interesting. Social distancing, the kind of way that they did it, but it is called 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It's about George Floyd, and it's about what's going on in the country. It's powerful, and yes, there are some funny parts in there as well. PGA Tour back in business, which is pretty cool. I'm watching it right now behind me, so it's kind of neat to watch. It's just very interesting to watch it because there's no fans out there. You see a few stewards. It's just like watching a bunch of guys just play golf. They just happen to be better than everybody else playing golf. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. The other thing tweeting and trending in the tweet world is Jacksonville, because Jacksonville has been chosen to be the final night of the Republican National Convention. So they last for like 4 days. It seems to go on forever. It's like a cricket match. And then they, the president or the candidate will come in and give their big rah-rah speech and formally accept. So he'll be doing that in Jacksonville. A lot of the other day-to-day speeches and minutia will take place still in North Carolina. So, it's just chaos. And we can't even do the conventions with any kind of agreement. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's Chad Benson Show.
Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
He decided that he was going to pit us against one another based on race. When you saw those people in Charlottesville coming out of the fields carrying those torches, their veins, they're bulgy, accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. The Grand Wizard said, "This is why we elected him." He said there were very fine people on both sides. No president in the history of the United States of America has ever said anything remotely like that. And when he speaks and gives credibility to these racist, watch my language, folks out there, they come out from under the rocks.
Biden yesterday, Trump getting ready to have his rallies starting in Tulsa next Friday. Biden becoming more and more prevalent, doing more and more things, putting himself more and more out there. There is a race. It's on. We'll find out who's going to be president probably sometime in mid to late November. That's what I think. Did Biden have some things to say there that were real? Do I think that Trump plays to a certain part of his base? Absolutely. You'd be lying if you say, oh, no, he does. Do I think Trump's a racist? I don't know the guy. I don't know what's in his heart. See, we want to make judgments on everybody. I think Trump has no empathy. I don't think he does. And and it's not because I think he's just an awful human being. Some people are just not very empathetic. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know why he's that way. Some people aren't very touchy-feely. Right? I'm not a super touchy-feely guy. It's never been my thing. My family, we were not a close people like that. Not a very, it's... Do I think that he's a racist? It's complicated, I think. I don't think Trump is a racist. I think Trump wants to, like a lot of people, they want to make their base happy and do the least amount of damage they can. And Trump does skirt the issues on certain things. I don't think he's been good with the George Floyd protest and what took place. I don't think he's been good at all. I think he's dropped the ball. Things he's been good at. I think he was great at the economy. I'm not blaming him for the coronavirus. Sorry, I can't do that. I know a lot of people want to, but that's ridiculous. I think with the way that he's looked at China, and I think he's opened up some eyes to some people when it comes to China. I think that's been good. I think he's been good on, some of the reactions, some of the things he's done to fight terror and to go after people. So, like Assad. I thought that was those things to me, I thought Trump has done a good job. Other things, I think he's failed. I'd give him a C- in dealing with COVID. Not the worst, not an F, because there's certain people who start Trump out with an F in everything, and it only gets worse. There are other people that start him out with an A, and it only gets better. I'm going to give you the straight facts. Like some of the stuff he did, I think he had a lot of missteps. I think there was a lot of gut and hope. Hey, you know what? By April, this thing's going to be gone. I also think that the World Health Organization, which this is your job, you get an F. The CDC, I think Fauci's been pretty honest. But I'm not giving him an A. I'm not giving him an F. But I think when it comes to what's taken place in America over the last 20 days or so, I don't think Trump has handled it that well. Biden, you get empathy with Biden. Biden's far more empathetic. He is. And Biden, by the way, his if you go back and you look at his record when it comes to race and the things that he said, you could be like, but like everything, there's a certain sense of, well, we'll ignore some of those things because it's a pick and choose world of cancel culture.
The Floyd family, George gets, brutally murdered for the whole world to see it. Even Dr. King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's did. Because just like television changed the civil rights movement for the better when they saw Bull Connor and his dogs ripping the clothes off of elderly black women going to church and fire hoses ripping the skin off of young kids. Because they didn't believe it, but they saw it. Well, what happened to George Floyd, now you got how many people around the country? Millions of cell phones. It's changed the way everybody's looking at this.
He's right. He's absolutely right. It's changing tremendously the way that people are looking at this. And I know there's a lot of people out there with George Floyd. Dave Chappelle in his new special said something about George Floyd because people criticize. Look how long. I mean, he got a burial like the head of state. All this stuff that has taken place, and look at how they champion. And you've got Candace Owens come out and he said something here very interesting about George Floyd.
I seen Candace Owens try to convince white America, don't worry about it. He's a criminal anyway. He's not a hero. And why does the black community make him a hero? Why do you choose him as a hero? We didn't choose him. You did. They killed him, and that wasn't right, so he's the guy. We're not desperate for heroes in the black community. Any survives this nightmare is my damned hero.
There's something to that. For whatever reason, this is what it is. And maybe because, and this is just me, I was talking to my friend the other day about this. I said, what is it? It's like with kidnappings, right? Or with certain things. Like there's just something that catches, and then the world becomes fixated on it for whatever reason. And George Floyd, maybe it was the perfect storm. People at home, people angry, people scared, people nervous. They see this happen in real time, another human being dying in front of our eyes. But in some ways, did he epitomize the struggle? Guy who had very little opportunities, who chose to go down certain paths that later on he tried to dig himself back out of and put himself on a better path, who has struggled with addiction. I mean, there was a lot to, and kind of in some ways, did he, especially for black America, but in some ways, black men kind of showed that's the struggle. And watching another human being die in front of your eyes like that by somebody who's supposed to protect and serve. Yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe they didn't pick him. Maybe we did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. All that being said, there's still chaos and craziness going out because why? Well, simple, because we're not going anywhere when it comes to the coronavirus, and now summertime is here.
Time in a certain situation, 15 minutes or more tends to increase the risk. Space, your distance apart from people, 6 feet away, better than 3 feet, 7 feet, better than 6 feet. How many people are in the area, so how densely crowded or populated an area is, and whether people are indoors or outdoors. And the good news, as we're in summer, is that outdoor environments we tend to think are a little bit safer than being indoors.
Yeah, how safe is it? Depending on who you talk to, up to 17 times safer to be outdoors than it is to be indoors. For some people, as it warms up, humidity and the heat, you don't want to be outdoors, right? And for other people, it's an okay time of year. Better than the deep winter, which is keeping you indoors, but it's still one of those things where, like here today, Phoenix, we're looking at 109. It's, you want to be outdoors, right? But you only want to be outdoors at certain times. But the personal responsibility side, as we look at how we combat this thing, Sweden took a lot of guff for it, and even them, they said, well, maybe we made a mistake. But the reality is they kind of didn't. When you think about the fact that we're all facing the same thing they are. They just didn't shut down. They decided we're just going to plow through it, and whatever comes, comes. We shut down. We thought we built up the things that we needed to build up, and now we're facing the fact that there is going to be spikes, and in some cases, it's far bigger than we thought. In other cases, it's oddly enough, we thought it was going to be bigger, and it isn't. But there are certain parts of the country that are moving in a different direction. And as we continue to open up and we continue to expose people, we're having to come to the realization that it's something we're going to have to live with. And are you prepared for a certain amount of risk? We always talk about this risk in everything. We drive in, we do this, that, and the other. But this risk is one of those things where we understand that every doorknob, every time you go somewhere and you put gas in your car, you do this, you're accepting that there is going to be some sort of risk. That thing that you potentially could get may not kill you, but you may pass it to somebody who you could put them in trouble. That's why, as we look at this thing, we need to start figuring out the plan is how do we protect the vulnerable, reward those people, and incentivize those people that are going to be there helping them, shelter and isolate in place, and the rest of us get on with ourselves so we can move the economy forward, so we can get things going. And I don't hear too many plans. I hear a lot of this or that or moving forward, and people trying to fit, governors especially, trying to fit the certain narrative and looking for every data point that they can put in their box that says, oh, look at this. But I don't hear concrete plans, and that's uncomfortable for me. Because I think most of you out there are willing to accept the risk and realize that, yeah, you know what, I'm not too worried about it, pretty healthy. If I get it, the chances of me getting sick, very slim. The chances of me getting sick enough to go to the hospital, probably slim. And the chances being sick enough to stay in the hospital and then potentially be in a life-threatening situation is extremely thin. So you're willing to accept that risk. So we better have better plans, because right now I see very little. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Gabby, GABI.com/Benson. 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, you can find out if you're paying way too much on your homeowners and car insurance. All you have to do is go to Gabby.com/Benson. You link your homeowners insurance and account information, everything, and car insurance. And within 2 minutes, for free, they're going to spit out what you should be paying. Maybe you're paying the right amount for the coverage you have. So you're going to get the exact same coverage comparison with 40 of the top insurance, an apples-to-apples comparison. I saved over $1,000 on the car insurance. When it came to my homeowners insurance, I was spot on. You can do the same. They're never going to spam you or robocall you, any of that stuff. $825 is the average they save people who use Gabby. Free to use, 2 minutes. Find out how much you can save on your homeowners and car insurance. Go to Gabby.com/Benson, GABI.com/Benson, Gabby.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No need to fear. We promise we won't give you a noogie and make you cry Russia, Russia, Russia.
Who is the fearless leader?
Pui.
Pui, and double pui.
What is your language? This is a family show, remember?
Pui to families too.
Nostrovia. This is Chad Benson.
You know, the rapidly rising in with I don't know.
He may have empathy, but sometimes I feel like he's a little dementia-y. And I'm not trying to be mean with Joe Biden. I'm not. I respect what he's done for our country. I have no dislike for Joe Biden. I have no allegiance to Joe Biden. I think as a person, he's great. I don't agree with him on some politics. Some of it feels pandering. And I don't think if he won, he's going to ruin the country. But I do believe it is a fair question to ask. Is Joe all there? Sitting there doing the thing, and he's got the little face mask dangling from one ear, and it's just... It's a struggle at times, people. It is. It's a struggle. You do think, right? Like, even if it's your side of the aisle, you got to think to yourself, if you're a normal person, you're not a cult follower of the DRR, right? You're not drinking the Kool-Aid on either side, but you tend to lean one way or the other. You've got to sit there and think 300 plus million people. People with great personalities, success, people who are driven and smart, all of those things. 300 plus million. And this is our choice. These two. Well, if you put it that way, yeah, kind of. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet at me, text the program as well. Golf, watching some behind me. Like it, enjoy it. Speaking of golf, they call him the Thrill. He's a whopping 5.
On Friday, William Kelly hit a hole-in-one. It's roughly 68 yards. He chose to use his 7-iron at the 13th hole. Several people witnessed the hole-in-one that surprised everybody, all the adults there that haven't done this in their lifetime. He says his favorite golfer is Phil Mickelson, and he hopes to play golf with him one day.
I hit a 7-iron, and it took 2 bounces off the fairway and 1 bounce off the green, and then it hit the flag, and then it went in.
By the way, at 5, this kid has got a swing. Like, he's got a swing that you want to have as an adult. That's what's crazy. Kid he's got skills already. So he's got a hole-in-one. And I've played golf a long time. I have. I haven't played recently, and I was supposed to go yesterday. Just a bunch of stuff, craziness, chaos, you know how the day goes. But I usually try to get out normally a few times a month. And there was time, like 2 years ago, I was golfing almost on a daily basis between my shows. I'd go out, got a little 9-hole course over here. I'd go out there, and then on the weekends I'd get out to some other courses, even during the heat. I like playing in the heat. People say, why do you go out in the heat? Are you kidding me? I'm the only one out there. That's why. I can play 5 balls at once. Nobody cares. I don't have a swing as good as this kid. I'm an okay golfer, and I've played a long time. I've never come close to a hole-in-one. I've 2-3 feet, but not like this.
We all ran down the fairway, and there it was sitting in the hole. It was an unbelievable moment. You know, some people play golf their whole lives, never get a hole-in-one. 5 years old, going on 6.
Yeah. Why do I always say going on 6? Like, where would you go? He's 5, but he's going to turn 8 in 2 weeks. Huh? I think we know he's going to 6. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Happy Friday! Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Pressing the pause button this morning with Nashville's mayor announcing they'll delay a move to phase 3 of reopening following a cluster of new coronavirus cases over the past couple of weeks.
So we will continue, hopefully just a little bit longer, with phase 2 while carefully observing our public health data every day.
Nationwide, 14 states have reported a 25% increase in COVID cases, including a 93% spike for Arizona in just the past week. Some of that due to new testing.
Yeah. Lots of testing. That's you test 1,000 in a day or 10,000 in a day. you're going to see a spike. What you want to see is the percentage stay within a certain range, right around anywhere between 7 and 10%. We've had a little bit higher than that in Arizona, and some days we've had a little bit lower. And it's also how they report, because you don't know how it reports. I saw Alex Stone from ABC News yesterday. He got his test back within like 12 hours. Sometimes I feel like one day there's like 1,500 or 2,000. It was like, well, what day did you get tested? Did you get tested 3 days ago? They're reporting it now. That's also, so it's not like it's instantaneous. But there's no doubt Arizona and several other places across the country are seeing spikes. What did you expect? I've said all along that sheltering in place doesn't mean it goes away. Well, we thought it was going to be seasonal. I thought it was going to be seasonal. We were told by the experts, who we're coming to find out aren't very good at their jobs, especially the WHO. They've given, this week alone, everybody got mad at Trump. Trump's horrible. I can't believe you. Do you know how hard we're going to have to beg to get back in the World Health Organization? This week alone, they came out and said asymptomatic people don't seem to spread anything. And within 24 hours, they reversed course. This to go along with, well, there's no transmission from human to human. Remember that? You don't really need to wear a mask? Well, no, you would need to wear a mask. No, you don't. Well, you do, and you should, but it won't help. They're awful. But it's not gone anywhere. And because of that, when you are going to put more people into a place where there is a risk, you should expect anyone? That's right. More infections. The best way to decipher this, that you can do it, look at hospital rates of COVID patients. So yesterday here in Arizona, it's a perfect example, and it's this way pretty much everywhere across the country. People started panicking the last couple of days because, oh my goodness, we're at 83% capacity. We're at 84%. We're at 82%. Hospitals came out and said, we're fine. We have to operate, if you will, at a certain amount of capacity because we have overhead. If we see a massive spike where that 83% is COVID patients, then by all means, freak out. If it's 8 to 10%, that means the other 70+% to 90% of people inside of the hospital are there for other reasons. Surgeries. Huge. Hospitals across the country struggled when they shut elective surgeries down. They were laying people off. And you would think, why? So we're in a pandemic. Because the majority of those people that work inside hospitals weren't dealing with the pandemic. You didn't have enough people to warrant them. And they no longer had anything to do. So they laid them off. It's not panic time. It's not even time for, super. It's time, though, to realize that the next phase we need to get into is governors across the country coming out with a plan on how to protect the vulnerable, because we know who they are. How do we go above and beyond what we're doing now? And also convey a message of we're not going backwards, we're going forwards, but do understand this. There will be risk involved. And you may not want to take that risk. Even if you're a healthy person, you may not want to take that risk for whatever reason. So do understand that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. And of course, fallout, as there should be, from George Floyd's murder. I call it murder because that's what it was. Is still continuing. The conversation that we need to have I don't know if we're ready to have that conversation, right? Celebrities have come out and doing what celebrities do. If you've not seen it, I tweeted it yesterday. It's cringeworthy is kind. Producer Phil, you are a friend of mine. I value your opinion. Did you see the cringeworthy?
I did not.
Take a moment and see, and we'll reconvene with you later. It's tough. So you got a bunch of celebrities, all crackers. Chad. And it's filmed in black and white. You know, like Aaron Paul and Julianne Moore and several others that are, you know, giving their thing, their 2 seconds or, you know, cents on this. It was tough. It was self-aggrandizing, absolutely. And it was a tough watch. Even left-leaning publications and outlets were like, what was that about? Because that's tough to watch and listen to. I thought it was a parody at first. It wasn't.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility for every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Every not so funny joke, every unfair stereotype.
Every time I explained away police brutality.
Black people are being slaughtered in the streets, killed in their own homes.
Going for a jog should not be a death sentence. Sleeping in your own home should not be a death sentence.
Playing video games with your nephew should not be a death sentence.
Shopping in a store should not be a death sentence. I stand against hate.
I stand against hate.
And killer cops must be prosecuted. They are murderers. We can turn the tide. It is time to take responsibility.
Aaron Paul. I don't know if there's an award for whatever he did, but overacting spectacularly. It's not very nice, Chad. It's not very nice what you said there. It's not very nice. No, it's not, because it was just ridiculous. If you want to watch something that is educational, that is far better than Emmanuel Acho's Uncomfortable, I think it's called Uncomfortable Conversation with a Black Man, is far better. I don't know what the white saviors thought they were doing. And I like every not so funny joke. So wait a minute. If there was a really funny joke, we're okay with that? And the way that I didn't think it was well done. I'm sorry. And it's tone deaf. Dave Chappelle got a new special out. He came out and said this about celebrities. Don Lemon was hammering, we're all the celebrities. We're all the celebrities. And you know, Dave.
Where are all these celebrities? Why aren't you talking? This at everybody. I was screaming at the TV. I dare you to say me. I dare you. Has anyone ever listened to me do comedy? Have I not ever said anything about these things before? So now all of a sudden, this expects me to step in front of the streets and talk over the work these people are doing as a celebrity? Ask me, do you want to see a celebrity right now? Do we give a what Ja Rule thinks? Does it matter about celebrity? No.
No, doesn't. And you want to do something, that's great. I've been saying over and over again, it's going to start with you and I and the conversations that we're having. Going out, talking, trying to find out how we bridge the gap and understanding that we'll never understand truly. But when people talk about Hollywood and their cringeworthiness in some of these things and their preachiness, you just sit back and you laugh and you're like, you're as tone deaf as you say everybody else is. It was just awkward. It's the best way to describe it. On top of all of that, it wouldn't have mattered what it is, right? Like they could be talking about wearing a mask and whether or not you should or shouldn't. And the awkwardness of it, because it was just so preachy and it was more about them than anything else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Speaking of white people, I've got a montage that is spectacular. We'll talk about that in a bit. Lightstream, kids, saving you money. You got credit cards. They're adding up. You'd like to save yourself some money. You're paying 19% on average APR. My buddies over at Lightstream want you to consolidate that to a very manageable payment. One payment, not a bunch, just one single payment with Lightstream. You can get a great deal. I'm talking about a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream. That's amazing. A rate as low as 5.95% APR with AutoPay and excellent credit. No fees, easy to apply online. In fact, the rate's fixed, so you don't have to worry about it going up and down, and you may even be able to get the money the same day you apply. And just for being my listeners, you're going to get a special interest rate discount by going to lightstream.com/Benson. That's lightstream.com/Benson. You guys got that? Lightstream.com/Benson. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offers subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Mayor Jenny Durkin fired back at President Trump's warning that he would send in troops to Seattle.
The threat to invade Seattle, to divide and incite violence in our city, is not only unwelcome, it would be illegal.
Still, the president continued his complaints.
If we have to go in, we're going to go in. These people are not going to occupy a major portion of a great city.
Why are they doing that? Chaz, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle, 6 blocks where it's been taken over by protesters in the wake of George Floyd. Seattle, so they're always protesting something. There's always something going on. You know, one thing I learned about living in Europe was you kind of set your clock to Spain, Italy, France, and at times even the British, but mostly those that they're going to protest at some point during the week. There's some sort of walk, strike, protest, something. This is kind of Seattle. So you got this autonomous zone, 6 blocks, taking over the police station. Right? Police Chief Best, he's like, no, we didn't abandon it. We boarded it up and we let everybody do what they wanted to do and we ran away from it, but we didn't abandon it. That's just silly to think that that happens. Well, so what is it that they want? That's the interesting thing. They want some stuff.
Those at the autonomous zone have a list of demands, including removing officers from schools, getting rid of juvenile jails, and even abolishing the city's police department altogether.
Yeah, so that's some of the stuff they wanted. Matt Gutman, ABC News, sat down to talk to one of them about okay, so let's just go over this again, your list.
We're going to continue to peacefully demonstrate. We're going to protest the excessive use of police violence, to defund the police, to release all the protesters who have been arrested.
How long does it last for? Until you get your demands?
We'll see.
It's like a party out there. Could last for who knows how long. I don't know. It is just weird to watch the fact that there's a 6-block radius inside of our country that, I'm just going to point out, they've built walls. Kind of makes you laugh a little bit. They put some walls up in some areas. And it's like Burning Man. It's in the farmer's market, like rolled into one. It's like, there's no Trump supporters there. And I'll say this, as much as they'll vote, some of them may vote, some of them may never vote. There's a good portion won't. But the ones that do, they'll begrudgingly vote for Biden over Trump. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is what you want, the abolishment of police. It's yesterday here in Arizona, Tempe, they had a big abolish the police thing, and Black Lives Matter out there. And then they brought up that's called undocumented allies, and they wanted to defund and abolish the Border Patrol and the Custom Enforcement State. I mean, they're just going through the thing, and I'm thinking, what is it that? Okay, what's the real thing? Where's the person that goes, look, this is what we're looking for. We're looking to take some money. We want to put it into underserved communities. We want to build a bridge, give people that have been underserved opportunities to start to be served, to give them the opportunities to grow and to feel safe as they do it. Okay, let's have a conversation about that. Getting rid of and hoping that unicorns come in and solve your problems is nuts. It's crazy. Some of the demands are nuts. I watched a movie, it came out a long time ago. Steve Buscemi, Brendan Fraser was in it. I think Sandler was in it. It was called Airheads. And these ding-dong rock band on accident took over a radio station. And they didn't mean to, but for whatever reason, they got lumped into it. And they were asking for a list of demands. And they were just throwing crazy stuff out there. They wanted a football helmet full of cottage cheese and a naked picture of B. Arthur. Like, that's the kind of craziness that I feel like they're asking for out there. We want to abolish everything. Want to get rid of everything? I am great. Let's talk prison reforms. I do not want to be in the situation we're in. We don't need this many people inside of our prisons. I want to lock bad people up for a very long time, and people that were desperate, people who made some poor choices, people that were addicts. I'd rather them get help because it makes our society better. And if you're looking from the conservative side, well, I don't want to let people out. By the way, it's costing taxpayers billions of dollars to keep people locked up who, quite frankly, aren't really the evil that you think. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In a 26-0 vote, the Louisville City Council approved Breonna's Law, named after Breonna Taylor, an EMT killed by police who mistakenly entered her home looking for a suspect already in jail. Her mother, Tamika Palmer, was there.
Thank you for being the first. Thank you for being ahead of the federal government.
The measure prevents the use of no-knock searches and requires police body cameras be turned on 5 minutes before any action.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Rand Paul is as well. He wants no-knock warrants gone. So if you don't know Breonna Taylor's story, it is an awful story. She dated a guy who, yes, was a drug dealer. She, nothing to do with it. She broke up with him. She's dating another guy. And they were looking for her ex. She's an EMT. She's at home sleeping at night with her boyfriend. They kick in her door because they thought he was still hanging around her. Kick in her door. Her boyfriend grabs his gun, as you should do if you're going to try to protect your stuff, not knowing what's going on because it's a no-knock warrant. So imagine sleeping in your home and somebody kicking in your door. He shoots. They shoot. They kill her. He hits a cop, and now he is up for attempted murder of a police officer. A lot of questions here. Because of COVID, because of all things going on, it was a lot paid attention to. It happened a while ago. This, though, we don't need no-knock warrants. We don't. There are just some things that that you sit there and you think, my God, I understand. And I don't blame the police because here's the thing. The police didn't come up with those rules. So I'm behind their move to get rid of no-knock warrants. I am. Rand Paul is. And I think we start looking at, this is another one of those things, as we talk about policing, how are we going to do a better job of policing? Doesn't mean, and I think a lot of people think because you are talking about defunding, By the way, in some states and cities, as they defund the police, let me give you the other side of the argument of like, oh my God, they're going to leave them with nothing. Some of the defunding that is taking place, like Los Angeles and stuff, is they got a huge raise in the budget for policing, and they're taking some of that and moving it elsewhere. So they're not taking current dollars away. Well, you got to tell your side of the story, because that's what you do, right? Like, I want to give you all perspectives. That's what it should be. Give the perspective of everything. Let people. I'm not here to tell you how to think. I don't want any of that. I'm going to give you my opinion. Sometimes you'll agree with me. Sometimes you'll disagree with me. I don't agree with everybody 100% or disagree with everybody 100%. I think we're here to have a real honest conversation. That's what I want my show to be about. But we talk about changing the policing and modernization. Everybody thinks, well, you're just going to make everybody wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Well, that's going to be up to the lawmakers, right? What I want is a strong police force that doesn't have to spend a majority of their time policing little things and not doing what they should be doing, which is out there catching the bad guys, which is out there doing the things that I think most of them, they say they want to get in because they want to do things, not just catch the bad guys, but inside of their community. And I think we can do that. It's not a kumbaya. It's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be some a-holes out there that do some really bad things. But I think it's going to go much further than what we have now, because what we have now isn't working the way that I think a lot of people thought. And we can't go to the craziness of what you see up in Seattle and San Francisco, where they just let you run willy-nilly free and crap on the street and do drugs and take over 6 city blocks. You don't need that. The problem is everybody wants the extreme of something. They'd rather have 100% of nothing than 50% of something. Enjoy that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from you. This, kids, this is just, I want you to sit back for a second. I want you to soak this up. So you had the celebrities have come out and they've done their little spiel, as they do, you know, talking about the responsibility, and just, it was just hilarious, and it was just awkward and just uncomfortable. And so you got the media pundits. And this is just another one of those situations where you just go,
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
Those white guys, those middle-aged, boring, nerdy-looking white guys.
And white people have been woefully late to this conversation.
Do you believe that white folks actually care about racial injustice?
It doesn't appear that we do. Racism is comfortable for white.
Well, I call it white mansplaining.
This idea that white people are objective on racism, which is outrageous. We are the least objective.
I'm not racist. It is incumbent upon people who hold the power in this society to help to do that, to do the heavy lifting. And guess who that is? Who is that, Chris?
White people.
White people! Have we been late? Yeah. Is it because it's a conscious thing? I don't think so. I think a lot of people out there, when we talk about like race and stuff, think that a lot of people want to do thinking for other people. I know what you think. Do you really know what I think? I get that every day. I expect that. I'm in a business where I put my opinion out there, but everybody reads into it what they will. They want to see or hear what they want to see or hear that will back up whatever their belief system is, yada, yada, yada. I think a lot of people think that people just walk around all day thinking certain things. There are some people out there that do. But most people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, gay, straight, Muslim, Hindu, atheist, Catholic, Christian, Jewish, trans, a good majority of them, and I mean a vast majority of them, are just living their life the best that they can, focused on their problems, their issues, and they don't think about a bigger picture. It doesn't cross their minds, not because they're bad people. I mean, I'll be honest, when I have a problem in my life, I think the world thinks that they should care about it, and you don't care about my problem. No, it's my life, it's my problem. I get hyper-focused on stuff. Right? I mean, here's a perfect example. all the stuff that's happened, George Floyd, all of these things that are going on that are absolutely abhorrent and horrific, and the greatness of our country, watching people take to the streets, all of this stuff that's going on, coronavirus, this, that, and the other. There's a kid in the hospital right now who is struggling with cancer and his family around him, and they're focused on that. It's not because they don't care about the other. It's because their focus is elsewhere. Understandable. White people need to have a conversation. We need to be honest with ourselves. And that's tough. And it's a tough thing, man. Honesty can be tough. We don't want to admit that maybe we've benefited from some things. And things that we didn't plan to do, things that we didn't plan to get benefits from, things that we never even knew because it was subtle. We need to have those conversations. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It means none of those things. But I think we're so hyper-focused on, we're trying to lump everybody together, and this is what, this is what black people think, and this is what white people think, and this is what Mexicans and Latinos and Dominican Republic and Cubans and, Europeans and Canadians. I don't know what anybody thinks. What do you think about it? Let me tell you, producer Phil's got a big weekend this weekend. He's thinking about getting the hell out of work early because him and his girl, and they're going to go and they're going to have fun and they're going to hang out at the beach and they're going to eat tons of oysters and all that stuff. Right? That's what he's thinking about. I'm thinking about, I can't wait to get home, see my family, hang out, play with my lizards, right? Take a nap tomorrow, maybe hit some golf balls. I think about work. I think about a lot of other things, but it's not because if you thought about all the bad that's going on in the world, because it's much easier to be a doom scroller. You know what that is? A doom scroller is somebody who goes to a particular website, whatever it is, Drudge Report, Huffington Post, CNN, Yahoo, whatever it is, and all they do is go from negative to negative to negative. Because it's much easier than going for the positive. If that's what you are, that's tough, right? It's tough. You can get depressed and you get down. I think we need, I tweeted a little while ago, we need to have a timeout this weekend. We need to soak in what has taken place over the last several months on the health side and what's going on globally, as well as what's going on in our country right now. We need to reset, think, and then we need to start to climb back out of the chaos and craziness and start to have real conversations. But we need to stop thinking for other people. I don't think for you. And I don't want to. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. One of the other things I'm doing this weekend is hanging out with my dog Doodle. He's awesome. I'll go home tonight. He's going to bounce around the couch. He's going to do things he never did 3 months ago because he's got a new lease on life thanks to Rough Greens. Rough Greens will make your dog food better. Their food will be better. It will be tastier, but it'll be healthy. Rough Greens gives you 25 all-natural vitamins and minerals, 20 digestive enzymes, 15 powerful strains of probiotics, omega-3, 6, and 9, as well as tons of antioxidants. And here's the thing that's great about it. It's not dog food. You just sprinkle it on your dog's food. It brings that food to life because so much of that stuff is dead. There's nothing living in it. This will help. He went from being a dog that struggled because of his fatty tumors in his hips to now having a new lease on life and being fresh and happy and healthy, and that's because of Rough Greens. 14-day jump starts only $14.95. It will be the best thing you ever do for your dog. See if Rough Greens can reduce or completely eliminate your dog's symptoms. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. 833-MyDog88. 833-MyDog88. That's RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
That is us, kids. Happy Friday. I love my mask, my Boomer Naturals mask. Whenever I go out, required to wear it. Boom, slap it on. Fits me great. Boomer Naturals taking care of me. And people ask me all the time, who are they? What are they, like Boomer Naturals? Well, let me tell you, are they? They're a health and wellness company. And joining us now, Suzanne Hobbs with Boomer Naturals. And I don't think people realize, you guys have a bunch of other stuff that you do, and one of them is really cool. It's called CB5. And it's very interesting because we hear all kinds of stuff. CB, is that like CBD? What is that? And well, what exactly is that?
Absolutely. So CB5 is the first FDA-compliant alternative to CBD. And a lot of people love CBD and they love the benefits of what it can do for the body. But there are other people that, you because of your job, you can't take CBD, whether you are taking it for stress or pain or anxiety or trouble sleeping. And so our doctors came out with a botanical formula that has 5 natural ingredients that actually work better than CBD on the body. And so we have put this into gummies, tinctures, roll-ons, creams, and it's just such a huge hit. We love that we can offer this to people who are looking for that alternative.
I dig that because, there's a lot of people out there who are like, they got their medical marijuana card, they want to do some stuff, but they also realize they could get tested at any point in time, and that would just crush it. And so they're looking for an alternative, and this is absolutely it. So we got the stress of the world, anxiety, trouble sleeping, all that stuff. You guys can help because I know anxiety is huge. Mental illness right now is on the rise. People not quite sure what to do. You see what's going on in the news. How can you guys help?
Absolutely. So our body has this endocannabinoid system. Basically, it's like the thermostat of your house. And when you're able to regulate the ECS or that thermostat with natural things without being put on medications, you don't need to be, I'm not a doctor, but I believe that there are natural things straight from nature that can help you and that your body will actually accept better. And there's no reason to have a lot of side effects. And so for me, sleep is a big deal. And so I take my PM tincture that helps calm and relax me before sleep. It doesn't put me to sleep. And then I also take about 2 gummies, and that then helps me sleep better, helps reduce stress while you're sleeping, and you wake up feeling good and not lethargic and tired because I put something natural in my body. So there are things like, alpha-pinene and limonene and different things that based on what your needs are, that's what we put in that formula. So we want people to take a look at our botanical formula blend at boomernaturals.com. We have videos on there to explain a lot of information that can teach you why this is something worth trying. And we just want people to at least give it an option. CB5 is something that people are going to find out and learn about big. We're having a huge year and we're really excited about that.
Love it. Talking to Susan Hobbs with Boomer Naturals. And we love the masks. The masks are great. You guys have donated a ton of masks, and I appreciate that. I've had people here at St. Mary's, the homeless shelter, you donated a ton of masks, and you've helped out along the way with some of the people in Navajo Nation and stuff. That to me is just, you have no idea how great that has been.
We believe in giving back. That's a huge part of who we are. We know that when you give back with true intent, that it comes back, tenfold. And we know that there are many organizations that are in desperate need. And so for those that go to boomernaturals.com and place an order, we are giving back 1 face covering for every order. So we're up to over 75,000 face covers so far. We're donating, again, tens of thousands, and we'll continue to do that. So we appreciate everyone who's doing that. I also have to tell you, we just came out with a larger size face cover because we realize that some people, either you've got a beard or a mustache or you just have a larger face. So we now have a large, extra large size. So along with our small for children or people that have a smaller face, regular, and now a large, extra large at boomernaturals.com.
Simple and easy. I appreciate you coming on and talking about it. I think at the time we need to know about the face coverings, but some of the other stuff, especially CB5, it's just, we need to, trust me, it's a good thing. I thank you so very much. You have a good and safe weekend, and we'll do it again soon.
Okay, let's use that CHAD20 discount code as well for 20%.
That's right. That's what I'm going to tell everybody. Get all your stuff. CB5, your immune boosting stuff. You go to boomernaturals.com, use that CHAD20. You're going to save 20% on everything. Thanks you so very much. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, CHADBENSON. It's a trip, like with the CBD, because it's legal. It's another one of those things where, so what's the alternative? And this stuff is cool. This stuff is, I've had a couple of people here at work order it, and they're like, this stuff's cool, man. Because, you get drug tested. It does. I'm fortunate enough. I do my own thing, but still, I get it. I worked at a radio station one time. He's like, the guy who runs it's like, I can't drug test here. I'm like, Why? Because we would have nobody working. Our on-air would be quiet. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. If you want to check out all the products, boomernaturals.com. Chad20, that's the code. Save 20% on everything. I want to say a very special happy birthday to the greatest gift of my life. My big boy Jack turns 10 tomorrow. He leaves the single digits, heads to the double digits. Jack, the world's going to be a better place, and hopefully I'll do good enough to show you how much better it can be, and you can keep that going. Happy birthday, my man. Love you. Have yourself a great weekend. You guys be safe and kind to one another. We'll do it again on Monday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.